Hare Krishna. So, today we continue with our seminar on Upadesamrta, on Nectar of Instruction by Rupa Gosvami. And so far we have covered 3 verses. The first one was dealing with urges of the body, subtle and gross urges of the body. And we mentioned how it's really important to be able to tolerate these urges in order to enter the abode of devotional service, the path of devotional service. And that we also mentioned that we cannot control them on our own, or even if we can, for some period, devotee always takes shelter of Krishna. We don't try to overcome these urges as a special exercise, or you understand that we should have taken shelter of Krishna. So shelter of Krishna is the most crucial in order to overcome these urges of the body. And then we discussed 6 items that are detrimental for our spiritual progress. And we mentioned that this atyahara, to gathering too much or eating too much, then it's atyahara, prayasa, it's over endeavoring, and prajalpa, speaking nonsense. These are all detrimental things for our devotional service. And jhana sangha, which is mentioned in both verses, what is beneficial and what is not. So that first he says that association with non-devotees or opposite sex is detrimental for our devotional service. And then in next verse he mentions that it is beneficial to give up such association. So we should really understand how important this avoiding association of materialists and the opposite sex, how important it is for our spiritual development. Yes, and we spoke about that greed is also detrimental, and we discussed beneficial things for devotional service this morning. Greed for devotional service, that means enthusiasm, is crucial. And conviction, firm conviction, and patience, of course, to give up association of non-devotees and opposite sex, and to perform devotional activities with proper consciousness. We mentioned that it is crucial to have proper consciousness, that we don't do it as a matter of duty, because this is not devotional service. This is then karma yoga at best, if we offer the result of our activities becomes yoga, otherwise just karma without yoga. So it should be perform these activities in proper consciousness. And we discussed that we should follow the example of great personalities. So when Rupa Gosvami discussed all these things which are good for our devotional service and which are not, then he discussed, because he said that we should give up association of non-devotees. This was stressed, and I already mentioned this, how much he put so much stress on this. But we know that a human being is a social animal, so he must associate with someone, and if he gives up association of non-devotees, that means that he should have some different kind of association. And this different kind of association is, of course, association of devotees. And therefore, in fourth verse that we will discuss today, we will group fourth, fifth, and sixth verse together, because it's all these three verses describe different attitudes towards devotees. And we don't have enough time, so we have 6 slots for our seminar, and so we'll group together verses that have similar message, or they deal with a certain topic. Yes, so in the fourth verse, Rupa Goswami says, Dadati pratigrihnati, guhya makati prishati, bhukte bhojayati chaiva, shatvidam priti lakshanam. So priti lakshanam, priti means love. Priti lakshanam means that dealings with love, with devotees, are again 6 types. He mentions 6 in 4 verses. First 6 urges of the body that should be controlled and tolerated. This tolerance to tolerate these urges of the body. Then he mentions 6 items that are detrimental for devotional service. Then 6 items that are beneficial for devotional service. And now he explains 6 items how to have loving dealings with the devotees. Yes. So, first thing is dadati. That means to give. We have a very similar word in Slovenian. To give is dati, and in Sanskrit is dadati. It's the same word, actually. So dadati means to give, and according to our acharyas, the most precious gift is Krishna consciousness. It's not just to give something material, but it's to give Krishna consciousness, to give proper understanding of Krishna consciousness, to help other devotees to progress in their spiritual understanding. Hare Krishna. So this is really important, not to keep what we have received for ourselves. It is the secret in spiritual life. In giving, we receive. If we share what we have been given, then our wealth increases. Yes. And it was said by Jesus, for example, you received for free, and therefore you should share for free. Yes. So we should share this Krishna consciousness with others. And also to exchange other items, tokens of love with other people, devotees. And it is mentioned by Rupa Goswami in other places, in Bhagavata-dharma Sindhu, and by the acharyas, that we should seek association of same-minded devotees. Because sometimes we can hear the idea that we shouldn't discriminate among devotees. Have you heard something like this? Yes, every devotee is dear to Krishna, and so we should associate with everyone. It is true, in fact, that every devotee is dear to Krishna, but we are not sharing the same mood, everyone. And this is also pleasing to Krishna, to have different moods. In spiritual world, there are also different groups of devotees who don't share the same mood. So it's completely natural to have certain mood, and that we go along with certain devotees more than we go along with other devotees. Maybe we understand, we can have loving relationship, friendly, but more from distance, because we don't share the same mood, we don't have the same energy. Understand? So we connect with some devotees more than with others. And this is completely natural. We shouldn't be afraid of this, or we shouldn't consider that this is something wrong. It's natural. So we should connect with those who are in the same mood, who share the same ideas with us, who find the same kind of inspiration in devotional service. Yes, then our devotional service is very much encouraged. Yes, because we feel that some close soul is able to understand us. Yes. So it's important to share, to give one another some gifts of Krishna consciousness, and especially guhyam akati prichati, that we speak of our, this is next item, is to speak about our confidential realizations. This Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that this means especially this, that this revealing your mind is not, as is many times understood in devotee association, to throw your garbage on another devotee, your frustrations, and that this is revealing your mind in confidence. Have you ever heard like this? That you complain terribly to some devotee. I revealed my mind. But it shouldn't be like this. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati stressed this very strongly, that we should share confidential realizations with one another. Yes. Datati pratigrihnati. Guhyam akriti prichati. Guhyam means in secrecy. Yes. It's not, these confidential realizations are not something public to be spoken about. It's private. So if you have some trustful relationship, and you can share this understanding what is what are your realizations of bhajan, going deep into devotional service. So yes, so it's very important to have someone that we can share this, some friend in Krishna consciousness. Yes, guhyam akati prichati, to very confidentially speak about our devotional service. And when devotees share their realizations among each other, then we are very much inspired. Our devotional service is inspired when we hear confidential realizations from other devotees about bhajan. Yes, but this is the source of great inspiration, and Krishna himself is speaking this in Chatur Shloki of Srimad Bhagavata-Gita, in 10th chapter. He says, Matchita madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam katayantaschamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That my devotees always glorify me and discuss among each other about my glories, and they bodhayanti, they awaken each other. uh, this literally means to awaken, to bodhayati. That means they inspire each other. Parasparam, this means each other. Yes, together. Katyantashamam nityam, always speaking about me. Dushyanticha, and they feel great satisfaction, and ramanticha, and great pleasure. Great bliss, discussing about me, discussing about devotional service. Yes. And Krishna then further explains, Tesham satata yuktanam prajatam pritipurvakam dadami yugi buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. That to those, who are those? Those devotees who are speaking to each other about Krishna. Otherwise those would be useless. So he points out that to those devotees who confidentially speak to each other about their devotional service, he gives the understanding, and who are always engaged in service, in loving service to him, he gives them proper understanding to attain him. Yes. So it's really important to be connected with the devotees and glorify Krishna together, to share our realizations in Krishna consciousness. Yes, and this is Sankirtan. Sankirtan. Sankirtan means to glorify Krishna together. Yes. Not just chanting the holy names together. Of course, this is also Sankirtan. This is Nam Sankirtan. But glorifying Krishna, glorifying not glorifying ourselves and our realizations, but to support each other and going deeper and deeper with the help of each other into our relationship with Krishna. Yes, because I stress this many times in our seminars, that we have to go deep. It's not enough to remain shallow in our practices. Yes, because if we are shallow, if we just want to fulfill our duties and our vows, we can never make true connection with Krishna. Never, because we will stay on the surface and just fulfilling our duty. But this fulfilling our duty, we discussed that it's not bhakti. It's karma yoga. Fulfilling duty and offering our results to Krishna. Yes. Because we have some purpose to fulfilling duties. It's not purposeless. not without purpose. It's not a hetuki. You have some purpose if you just fulfill your duty. Yes. But if you do it with consciousness, I am the servant, I try to please Krishna. Not just I am a servant, it's also not enough. I want to please Krishna. If I want to please Krishna, then it's bhakti. This is the essential part of bhakti. Desire to please Krishna. If we are without this desire, when we perform any devotional activity, it's really not bhakti. Because bhakti is the thing of the heart, not thing of activity itself. Some things, of course, are natural devotional service, like chanting the holy names, for example, are bhakti by itself. But if the consciousness is not proper, then our attitude is not bhakti, and then chanting of the holy names becomes abhas, shadow of the holy name. It's not holy name itself or himself, but it is Abhas is the shadow, reflection of the holy name. Yes. So it should be done with devotion, that is with the attitude to please Krishna. Yes. Okay. Guhyam akati prichati. Bhunkte bhojayate cheva. And this is very pleasant aspect of devotional service. Every aspect of loving dealings is very pleasant. And sharing prasad is also extremely pleasant for, I believe, for everyone, except if you have a stomach problem, maybe. But still, we can be very pleased to serve the devotees. So, to accept prasad from devotees is service to the devotees, and to serve them and to feed them with prasadam is also service. It's in the highest form of service, if we feed devotees and please them in every regard. Therefore, this is crucial. It's culture of serving. If we don't have this culture of serving, that our devotional service is, we haven't understood what is devotional service. If there is not service mentality, because the service itself means service, devotional service. Therefore, Prabhupada translated this perfectly as devotional service, not just as devotion or love, because it's easily misunderstood in this world. Love means to exploit others for my sense enjoyment in this world. If we strip it of all decoration, it remains I want to exploit others for my sense enjoyment. Basically. So love is service with certain attitude, of course, loving attitude, with the purpose to satisfy the beloved. Yes, this is love. Therefore, Prabhupada expertly translated bhakti as devotional service. Devotional service. Yes. So it's important to serve one another in whatever way we can, or whatever way we know how to do it. And then it's perfect. Our life is perfect. Even if our service is extremely simple, our life is perfect. Yes. And I mentioned when we were discussing Raga Bhakti and these high topics, that these menial services are Nija Bhishta Bhava Maya. That's directly the mood we want to develop for Radha and Krishna, for serving Radha and Krishna. Yes, because in spiritual world they menially serve, these gopis and manjaris, they menially serve the divine couple, Radha and Krishna. Yes, and they are cleaning, they are making garlands, they are fanning the divine couple, and they act as messengers, as milkmaids, as cowherd boys. So very menial services. No need for lecturers. Yes. So if we perform such services, we can meditate in this regard. Yes, we serve Radha and Krishna by performing this particular service for their pleasure. And then, only then, great satisfaction can come. If we just perform service because of duty, no one is enthusiastic about duties too much. Yes. So this service to the Lord is what gives us enthusiasm and satisfaction and ecstasy, actually. If we want to make someone who we love happy, as this is the highest form of happiness. If we love someone, it's naturally that we want to make this person happy, isn't it? It's natural. Yes, and if we succeed in this, we are perfectly happy. I often tell a story from Slovenian literature. I believe I didn't share this with you so far. Did I? It's about its autobiographic story, how there was a young boy of 5 years old who heard conversation between his father and mother. And his mother said to his father that she would like to go the next day to ornament Mary's altar in the church. But she would like to ornament it with some special little flowers called the little tears, white little flowers that grow in early spring. I don't know if... snowdrops. Yes, snowdrops. And very nicely smelling flowers, I believe. Or not, I don't know exactly. So, but she said that these snowdrops, or little tears, as they're called in Slovenian, they grow in some deep dark valley called hell. And this boy was extremely afraid of this deep dark valley called hell. And father sent him many times to herd his goats and sheep in hell. Because in summertime, the slopes of this valley were the grass on these slopes were much more succulent, more green, because there was a brooklet in the bottom of this small valley, and there was not much of scorching sun because of steep hill, downhill, and it was better grass there for grazing the animals. And so, but he was so afraid of this hell that he many times escaped from hell and he was punished by the father. But when he heard this conversation between his father and mother, the next day, before dawn, it was still completely dark, he ran into this dark, deep valley called hell, and to where these little drops, or how is said, snowdrops were growing, and he collected a whole bunch of these snowdrops and ran back as far as he could, and it was really frightening for him, because it was completely dark, and this brooklet was echoing from the walls of this valley. It was really frightening, and he expected that at any moment some devil will come and grab him and take him away. And when he was returning to his house with this bunch of snowdrops, he saw his mother. She stepped on the threshold of the house, and first rays of the rising sun were lighting her. And this was the most beautiful scene that he ever seen. And he ran to his mother and gave her these little drops or snowdrops, little tears. And she immediately understood how much sacrifice he had performed, that he wanted to please her. And he remembered this day for whole life as the most blissful experience he had in life, because he made happy someone who he really loved. So this is service, if devotional service. Of course, we know that our love should be exclusively meant for the Lord, and then we can love every living entity if we love the Lord. So this is the perfection. But it illustrates this story that true satisfaction comes to by serving someone who we really love, even in material perspective, what to speak in spiritual perspective. So it's so important to create these loving relationships amongst devotees. Yes, it's crucial for our devotional development. And yes, to serve them in every regard, because they are very, very dear to Krishna. Very dear to Krishna. Krishna stresses this all the time, how dear are devotees to him. Okay, this is the first verse about these loving dealings. And Prabhupada mentions that these loving dealings are natural also in this world. For example, he gives example of a businessman and he invites other businessmen to lunch in some hotel. Yes, and they discuss business, because in friendly atmosphere, yes, of sharing prasad or food together. Yes, so it's natural dealings. So it's not something artificial that we should adopt, but we should act naturally, but in the association of devotees, which are conducive and beneficial for our Krishna consciousness. Because if we have affectionate relationships with non-devotees, we will adopt their idea of how to become happy in this world, because it's natural, we want to be happy. And if we associate with people who have their own ideas, not devotional ideas, how to be happy, then we'll naturally be influenced by their values and their views on happiness. Yes, so therefore Bhaktisiddhanta, and Prabhupada also, he quotes Bhaktisiddhanta in his commentary, in his purport to this verse, that we shouldn't give Mayavadis and atheists nothing and receive nothing from them. Yes, but strictly avoid them. Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? So this is our service to staunch atheists and materialists, Mayavadis, to give them nothing. Yes. Okay, then it is next verse. Next verse is about our perception of different grades of devotees. It is explained, Krishneti yasya giritan manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibishcha bhadrantamisham. This is Shushusha bhajana Krishneti yasya giritan manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibishcha bhadrantamisham Shushushaya bhajana vigyam ananyananya Shuddhyadi nityam Nindadi shunyam krita ipsita sangalabdya. Yes. Sorry for this. But basically it is that the devotee should offer respect to everyone who is speaking the holy name, who is chanting the holy name, who pronounces the holy name, even once. Because Lord Chaitanya, when he was asked by devotees from Kuliagram, I think, about who is a devotee, it's interesting that he was asked the same question 3 years in a row. And Lord Chaitanya gave 3 different answers to the same question. He was asked, who is a devotee? And first year he answered, one who utters the holy name once he is a devotee. This was first definition of a devotee. And next year, on the same question, he answered that those who constantly chant the holy names are devotees. And the third year, he answered those whose appearance influences others to chant the holy name are devotees. So our acharyas explained that these are 3 levels of devotees. First one is Kanishta Adhikari, Kanishta Bhakta or Prakrita Bhakta, who chants the holy name but doesn't have proper understanding yet of devotional service, not deep knowledge about devotional service, and not deep faith either. So to this kind of personality we should offer respect in our mind. It is explained. Manasadriyeta. We should offer them respect in our mind. Then it is the devotees who accepted Diksha, that means proper initiation from Guru, who have proper understanding and who devote their life to Krishna, the devotional service. So we should offer full respects with our body to such a devotee. And we should especially seek association of really advanced devotees who are advanced in bhajan and who don't have even propensity to see faults in others. This is very important to understand. If someone finds great satisfaction in finding faults, this is not proper association. Yes. So we shouldn't associate with people who are fault finders. And we should strictly avoid to find faults ourselves. This fault-finding mentality is detrimental for our spiritual life. Yes. And internet, Facebook and so on is permeated by fault-finding mentality. So we should strictly avoid this social media. Yes. Because even if we don't participate in these useless debates, we are influenced by the offense. Just this fault-finding mentality is extremely offensive. Yes. And we should avoid it by all means. Not participate in it, even by passively not doing anything, but just be present, it's already offensive. Yes. So we should strictly avoid everyone who is criticizing others. Yes. And because we discussed this in Prajalpa, when we spoke about Prajalpa, that this in material world, this is one kind of highest ecstasy, to gossip. Therefore, in material world, everyone is gossiping. Everyone is gossiping and complaining. Yes. This is some kind of perverted satisfaction. Yes. And this satisfaction in Tama Guna. Yes. In the mode of darkness. So we shouldn't take part in any way or form in this fault-finding mentality, yes, and activities. Therefore, if you can completely avoid this, social media, it's the best. Not to use them at all. Yes. Many young people are completely addicted to those social media. Once I was present personally in some lecture of Kadamba Kanana Maharaj in Bhakti-Vedanta Mana, and he said that he has disciples who text him every day something, few times a day. And he said that it would be much better to give the phone away and just read, for example, Prabhupada's books. But he said, but I don't tell them this because they're addicted. He used this word, they're addicted, and they wouldn't listen. So I don't tell them because they're addicted. Yes. So we shouldn't be addicted ourselves to this social media. Yes, they're highly addictive because if you're posting your ideas and pictures and whatever on internet, then you regularly check how many likes you got and comments. What are the comments? Yes, so completely absorbs your mind in some prajalpa. For example, Prabhupada was against installing telex in the temples. Telex was some kind of awkward communication in 70s. Have you heard about telex? In older generations, I believe you heard about telex. Sorry?
Telex?
Telex. Yes.
Telefax. Oh, fax. Oh.
Now we have Telegram.
Yes, Telegram was even before Telegram. Oh, Telegram in this app. Yes, I know what you mean. But telex, I don't think it was telefax. It was something else, this telex thing.
There was telefax also.
Telefax was also, yes. But I think it was later than telex, this telefax. Because through telefax you could send also pictures and so on. But not through telex, I think. It was just text. And some short messages, like these short messages that we can sent through phone. Yes, but much more awkward. But Prabhupada was against these telex, to install them in the temples, because he said it would be just sharing prajalpa and nothing more. And I don't know what he would say if he would know about internet. Because this now prajalpa, really extreme forms, yes, everywhere, in the pocket of everyone, even in the fields, not just in some certain place, because these machines were stationary in some office that only certain people have access. He even threw out the phone once they installed a telephone in his room, and then one called him at midnight or something, and it was one of his disciples, and Prabhupada said, yes, and he said, how are you, Prabhupada? And Prabhupada immediately just hanged the phone and ordered to throw out this. Yes, so we should be careful about this social media. Yes. Not to engage in this social media. It's detrimental for our consciousness. It's because it's mainly just gossiping. Mainly gossiping. Of course, we can publish something beneficial for the world, something Krishna conscious, but immediately leave this cyberspace. Not to engage and not to waste time. So much time is wasted in this scrolling. So much time. And they scroll during chanting, japa. And of course this is completely detrimental for our consciousness. So our japa should be really devoted and go deep in our japa. This is our only hope, is japa. Oh, it's already 7. I wanted to discuss also the third verse, and is about how to perceive the most advanced devotees. They maybe have some problems, bodily problems. Even they may be hot-tempered also. But if they're really advanced devotees, we shouldn't see any defect in them. Even if they have deformed body, or they're easily irritable, or anything like this, if they're advanced devotees, we should consider their so-called faults as foam in the river of Ganges. River Ganges is always sacred. It's spiritual flow from the toes of the Lord Himself. So advanced devotees, even if they have some defects, apparent defects, shouldn't be considered seriously. So we should seek association of such advanced devotees and devote our life to service to them. Yes, it's really important not to consider some defects seriously. Yes, because spiritually awakened people don't consider defects of Mother Ganges. Yes, even if it's full of in rainy season, river is full of mud and bubbles and foam, but still is considered transcendental, and one who is spiritually awake takes bath even in such a river. Yes. He doesn't consider these impurities to be important. So we shouldn't consider apparent defects in great Vaishnavas as important. Yes. Because I don't know about Indian mentality, but Western mentality is very much black and white. If there is some defect in some person, we perceive some defect, and then we label this person as pretender or useless, as something black. Understand? So Rupa Goswami warns us that we shouldn't have this idea. We shouldn't perceive in this way. Even and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that Krishna even says, Api chet suduracharo bhajata mamananya bhak sadur eva samantyavaya samyak vyavasito hi sa. That even if my devotee who has ananya bhak, that means that he's pointedly devoted to me, he should be considered saintly even if he commits most abominable act. So what to speak of great saintly personality? Should be always considered saintly. Yes. And Krishna explains, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigachati kaunteya pratijjanihi name bhaktah pranashati. That he will quickly become righteous. Yes. So, and Jiva Goswami explains that this apichet verse means even though, apichet means even if. And that means that it won't happen like this. The devotee commits something abominable. But for the argument's sake, even if devotee would commit such abominable act, he still should be considered saintly. If he's ananya bhak. That means anya means other, and ananya means not other. So that means his consciousness is focused only on serving Krishna. Then he should be always considered as sadhu. Not that he's partially sadhu, partially asadhu. Or when he commits abominable act, that he's asadhu, and when he serves Krishna nicely, that he's sadhu. No, Krishna says sadhu eva. Always sadhu. So we should consider such great personalities as sadhu eva, in every regard sadhu. Yes. Of course, this doesn't mean that we should be blind and see people who deviate from Krishna consciousness as sadhus on the ground of these verses. Because Krishna himself says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, that such a person who is one-pointed in his devotional service, he will very quickly become righteous. Yes. Kshipram. Kshipram means very quickly. He will become dharma atma. Atma means self, the heart. So he will, from his heart, live according to dharma. Yes. That means he will quickly become righteous. It's as Prabhupada translates this. Yes. Okay, is there any question or comment or doubt? Yes, please.
There's many devotees objects to this, that we've been too much of not criticizing or taking up some misconduct of devotees and like that, and therefore there have been, devotees who have a long time mistreated children and yeah.
Yes.
And like that. So kind of blindly just not wanting to see because.
Yes, yes. This is, of course, danger. But our service is to protect the weak. That means women, children, old people. They should be protected in all regards. This is our service to Krishna. So, if we neglect such a service, then we neglect really essential service to Krishna, most important service to Krishna. So we shouldn't be blind, as I said, and blindly accept everyone as saint. If he commits abominable activities repeatedly, especially, then he shouldn't be considered saintly. Or even if, again, if I use this argument, even if we consider him saintly, we should completely protect the innocent, those who are weak, who need protection. Yes. So he can be saintly isolated and we can still respect him or her, but from distance. Understand my point? It's not beneficial to tear him apart publicly for no one. That is also important to understand. But not to protect those who need protection is also most abominable act. Yes. So this is our duty to protect. Especially children, women and old people. They should be really protected. But modern days, of course, it's crazy. They don't know what is protection. This is another point, because it is explained in Bhagavad-Gita that intelligence in rajas is that we don't know what is proper and what's not proper. And intelligence in ignorance is to accept what is proper to be wrong and what is wrong to be proper. And we can see this idea of protection itself is good, but in modern world it's many times wrongly applied. That no one can punish children in any way, for example. This is classical example. Because from time immemorial they were punished if they performed something wrong, and if they are punished with love and concern for them, it's beneficial for them. Of course, not mistreating their children, but in the way that we help them. Because you should understand, for example, children are wholesome beings. That means they exist on every level of existence. Understand? They're not just verbal living entities, because they many times in modern world they think we can just talk and everything can be settled. But this is crazy, because children are not verbal beings only. In fact, there are very little verbal beings. Very small part of their existence is verbal. And majority, because they are on Anamaya platform, majority, that means they're on physical level more than on verbal level. Therefore, you can speak to a child very much, very convincingly, very nicely, but it goes here in and here out, and does the same nonsense again. So you should grab him if he doesn't listen. Listen to me. So you should apply all levels of his existence, because he's not just one-dimensional personality, but wholesome living entity. And certain level of violence that is needed in society. We apply it on every level. Therefore, we have police, we have army. This is all force and violence. And therefore, our Shastra doesn't say only ahimsa, but natihimsa, not too much violence. Because violence should be used as a service, not as a means to destroy others, especially not children. But in modern world is so perverted that there should be no sign of force. And this is completely against all common sense, especially if you're a parent. You should know this. It doesn't function like this. Then children become crazy. They don't respect any authority. They don't respect parents because they are more powerful than them. They can play with them whatever they want. They achieve because parents shouldn't be strong with them. And they do nonsense. And it's harmful for them. So it's violence, in fact, if we are not strong with them also. Yeah. Hare Krishna. You understand? So this modern world is extremely perverted. And we should know what is right and what is wrong. Of course, that doesn't give us any license to mistreat anyone, not to speak of children, but to properly see the reality. So if someone really mistreats children, we should protect children and women also, and old people. This is our duty. Yes, and see that everyone is happy in Krishna consciousness. This is our duty, especially if we are in position that we can enforce this. And then it's also enforcement. Because if there is a society, immediately there is some enforcement of law and order. Yes. So it applies also in family, it's also a small society. Yes. So law and order should be there. Otherwise it would be just chaos and anarchy. And in devotion life we don't want chaos. Yes. I don't know if this answers your question. Okay. Anything else, or we are too late for further discussions? Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanande.